Online. I'm online. On Facebook, I'm online at least.
Okay, so I am on YouTube right now.
Perfect.
Live on all different platforms.
And then I'll go on
Perfect.
Live on all.
Facebook. Perfect.
Cool. It's working. I'm on.
It's working. It's working.
I have your stream open, so if I see any comments, I can see them.
I'm gonna turn my volume down on my computer. I think I'm just gonna mute it completely.
I have Spotify playing in the background. Speaking of which, I'm gonna turn up a little bit. Jake,
Yes.
where do you go to get your haircuts?
I've actually, for the most part, cut my own hair.
How do you do that?
How do I do that?
Do you use your spidey senses or mirrors?
I use my hands to measure. So I take like 4 fingers
Bring this closer.
and I measure behind my head to where to where how high it is, and then that's where I create the line where I'm going to fade it, and then I just bring it like 2 fingers up, and then I fade in between there. I don't know. I don't really know how to explain it. It's kind of self-taught. I've been letting my hair grow out long, so I haven't done that in a while, but
Can you cut
I'm
my
gonna
hair?
grow my hair out.
I could probably cut other people's hair, yeah. Because
I'll let you do it, and I promise I won't sue you because you have to be in the, cosmetology
Oops.
to legally do it, in your own business. So, but I'll let you
Yeah.
cut my hair.
I've never cut anybody else's hair. So
But if you mess up my hair, I'll call the cops.
yeah.
Wow.
I think it's like having to have everything even, I don't want to say OCD because I don't want to be one of those cringe people who's like, I have OCD, but
Oh yeah.
there is a certain extent to OCD that I feel like I do have.
Yeah. See, whenever I'm at work, I work sometimes when I work the deli, I always have to like reorganize the hot case with the fried chicken so that all the pieces are separated. So there's like the breast, thighs, the wings, the legs, and whenever there's just like a big pile of chicken that's unorganized, my brain is just like, oh my god, come on, I gotta tell what piece is what. Because like legs and wings, they're easier to tell, but with like breasts and thighs, they're a little bit harder to tell, especially if it's fried. So I had initially thought maybe was like, do I have OCD? But then I had to think about it. I was like, maybe I do, maybe I don't. But so I have to like ask somebody else about this behavioral trait, because that's like that's kind of like a common thing I see for people with OCD or ASD.
Yeah, I think that OCD is attributed a lot to having to make everything even, being like
Yeah.
But there's
Yeah,
actually a
everything
lot
even
more.
organized.
There's a lot more that goes into OCD than just that. That's why people get upset when people just
Yeah.
randomly say, "Oh, I have OCD."
Yeah. It's not really a good thing to like self-diagnose yourself,
Right.
especially without a professional to help you to actually confirm that you actually have this.
And from
Hashtag
someone
correct.
who genuinely has OCD, I have these impulsive thoughts where in my head I'll look at, like, let's say my portrait of the nightmare right here, a poster on my wall. Sometimes I'll be looking at something, like playing a video game, and I'll look over and I'll see like this little dot sticking through my poster because it's on not smooth wallpaper. I'll tell myself, If I don't touch that dot, I'm gonna die. I gotta touch the dot right now, and that's how bad OCD really is, because it messes with your mind. If you don't listen to what your brain is telling you to do, even how ridiculous it sounds, it really makes you feel like you're gonna freak out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually do know someone with OCD. I don't know what their behavioral traits are, but they have said that I've had it. I know someone who has Tourette's, who has ASD like me, who has anxiety, stuff like that.
Yeah. And I have similar instances too where I like example, like when I was a kid, I would ride the bus and I would look out the window, and every time there was a divot in the sidewalk, I would have to like lift my foot up off of it, you know, kind of like you're playing Mario and you're jumping from platform to platform. Like I would have to lift my foot or else I would feel like weird. And then and also like twisting a doorknob like a certain amount of times before I open it or close it, and then when I lock it, I have to twist it a certain amount of times. I've grown more and more out of it, but I still have certain traits like that though.
And it is 6:01. We just wait for a few more people to come in.
Yeah. I realized I didn't create an event like I did last time, but people should still join, I think.
Yeah, I shared it on my wall.
I don't know if there's a way for me to minimize the window so that I can see the chat next to me, but I have my phone up here so I can like switch between them and look occasionally.
Yeah, I have both windows open for YouTube and Facebook. There we go.
So how was y'all's Christmas?
Good.
Very Christmassy. Felt more like Christmas than the last two Christmases.
This is like the first Christmas in a while that we've had snow.
Yeah.
Got myself a car, got a bunch of stuff on it. But more importantly, it's gonna sound cheesy, everyone says it, but I genuinely mean it. Don't really care what I got. I don't really care about the materialistic things that I got. I'm just very happy that I got to spend a lot of time with friends and family, because that doesn't happen as often anymore. The last two Christmases just felt not very Christmassy because I didn't have a lot of family around me. I was just kind of there. So it was a lot better this year.
Yeah. No, I totally get what you mean. I didn't get a whole lot of materialistic items this year either, but I'm getting to a point where I'm, you know, it doesn't bother me a whole lot to not get like presents or whatever. You know, it's also an age thing where I don't have that same excitement for Christmas, I guess. But I got to spend the time with my family, and that meant a lot more to me than just getting a present or whatever.
I get excited about socks now.
Like,
I got
for real.
I got really excited when I got sound foam.
Sound foam?
Yeah. Hold on. Let me see if I can grab it. Oh God. So I have acoustic foam. I have it in like 3 colors, and there's like it's a pack of 12, I believe.
Thing to block out sound.
Yeah, which is very common for voiceover artists and for independent music artists as well.
I was gonna get some of those, but I decided against it because I realized out where I live, I can scream at the top of my lungs and nobody can hear me. My shed is well insulated enough. What you thinking about, Jake?
I'm just keeping track of these doesn't look like too many more people are going to be joining, or if they will, they will later on. It's whatever. How many do you got in your stream?
I hide my viewer count
Oh,
from myself because I don't like to know how many people are watching.
huh. That's interesting. I don't know how to do that with my setup, so.
You just don't look at it.
Yeah.
Well, I don't really care how many are watching me during the actual stream itself.
Yeah,
I just
'cause
like
I know a lot of people have things to do.
I like seeing it get to a certain level before I'm like, all right, let's get started.
Yeah.
Like at least like 4 or 5 on both platforms, but you know, which we're actually getting close to that. So last week I actually got close to like 30 people watching me, which is a new.
Oh, wow.
Which is a new
Yeah.
for me. Zeb, you're like rookie numbers.
No, not rookie numbers because the highest I've ever gotten is like 17. I just don't promote my channel enough. I just go live and just let it do whatever. I need to start promoting, but like I haven't had the motivation to stream as much recently, so there's no point. I want to bring a bunch of people to my channel and then disappoint them when I don't come back the next day. I'm turning my fan off. To do that, I'm getting up, and I'm turning my camera off so nobody can see my butt.
Because you're not wearing pants.
Shorts! You don't want to start commenting thick?
Thick. Well, everyone's gonna comment thick now.
Braves froze. Just frozen.
Yeah. Yeah, Brianna. I don't know if you can hear us, but you're non-existent right now. You're like frozen, like. Is she frozen in the same way that for you?
I saw that you were like frozen. I was like, oh crap.
I don't know. I saw Zeb, so yeah.
You were frozen on like my end, and then it just like kicked me out and put me back in. Like
All right.
Zoom will do that, so I'm used to it.
Well, I think we could probably get started if you guys want to. I'm good with that. So I don't know if you want to do any sort of weird. I'm sorry, I didn't mean weird. I don't know if you.
I'm weird.
I don't know if you want to do an introduction for your stream, but I'll just go ahead and get into mine. So for those of you who are watching on the Spider King Studios YouTube channel, as well as on my personal Facebook, this is Tune In Tuesdays, pretty much the podcast / talking video thing that's not really a podcast because podcasts are audio. We bring on guests every Tuesday and we just talk the talk and do mostly free form content where we just kind of pick the brains of the people who come on here. And today I have JL Graves, who is the music supervisor for Spider King Studios. So we're going to be talking about music and things like that with her. And we also have Zeb, who is kind of an influencer on Twitch and other social media platforms. So it's really awesome to have you both on here. So,
Excuse me.
Way to start us off.
so every week we do this, and so these are my guests today. It's going to be pretty casual. Last week we got pretty deep with some stuff. I don't know really the direction this one's going to go. I'm assuming pretty casual. I do have some talking points that we're going to go over, and we'll just kind of see how it goes. I don't really have an agenda for this one, though. So we'll just see where it leads. So I guess first off, I'll I'll just I already did sort of an introduction for you guys, but you guys can go ahead and do your own introductions and give the spiel, your own commercial on who you are and who you want to present yourself as, I guess. So, Zebediah, you can go first. Who are you, dude? Like, why are you here?
I'm a guy. I'm just a guy who was born in Roseburg. And I decided to pick up my phone one day on, I think, 2014, 2015 or something like that. And I recorded a video of me kicking a trash can and titling it "When My Ex Knocks on My Door." And that ended up getting like 1,000 views. So that got me into, making videos and stuff. And I started making the stupidest videos possible that I could. And a lot of people liked it. And I got mildly, I wouldn't say popular, but I was the popular quiet kid in school. But I didn't talk to anybody, but everybody knew my name. I'd always be like, "Hey Zeb," and there was a lot that didn't like me and a lot who did like me for my videos. And after high school is when my popularity really tried to soar, which sucks, I wish I could go to high school when I was like super popular. But after that, I started TikTok and I started posting 7 videos a day for 462 days straight. Very draining. Very, very draining. That many videos a day is a lot. And I stopped recently, but I'm trying to get back into it. And I amassed over 250,000 followers, and that's where I'm at now. And just recently I've started to get into some personal things to help better my mental health. So you'll probably see a lot more of me when it comes to social media, like it used to be.
Well, that's awesome.
And that's me, the guy in Roseburg.
The guy in Roseburg. I kind of see myself as the same, like the guy in Roseburg. Except I'm not in Roseburg anymore, I'm in Rice Hill, but I pretty much live in Roseburg. I kind of I go back and forth, but I mean, most of my stuff is in Roseburg. And I think people at this point know me for being the filmmaker guy. So, yeah. All right, Brianna, who are you? Why are you here?
Well, hi everybody. My name is JL Graves. I am the music supervisor for Spider King Studios. I am also an actress and screenwriter. You guys may have seen, well, I guess my actual name for the short film Runner back in 2018, which I have been working on rewriting, but I am mostly here to create another aspect to storytelling, which is music composition, because my view of music is that it's a form of artistic expression that is meant to be analyzed, it's meant to be shared, it's meant to be connected, it's meant to be expressed, regardless of basically what somebody may be going through, or if they just want to put a piece of themselves into their music. I do have a YouTube channel as well, which is just JL Graves. Here are some of my works on there. I have a SoundCloud that also has my works. I'm working on getting a few of my pieces up on iTunes, which I do have them up already. I have my original song from our feature film Limbo, which is called Rest in Peace. I have my electronic ambient composition piece called Cathedrals, and I actually did a cover of a song called Once Upon a Dream from Jekyll and Hyde, not from Sleeping Beauty, but from Jekyll and Hyde. And above all, I'm here to inspire many people to pursue their passions, whether it's in music, it's in film, it's in dancing, hell, even in pottery and whatever. Because again, music is an art that is meant to be shared, and it is a form of storytelling.
Well, awesome.
Agree.
Hell yeah, Blair. So yeah, so like I said, it's really awesome to have you guys on today, and you know, when I get the chance, I will also put the link to all of y'all's social medias in my description on YouTube. That is because I kind of just let the lives on Facebook just kind of go, you know, like I don't go back and edit those. But on YouTube,
Yeah.
after it's done processing, after like a couple days, I go back and I edit them and I kind of trim it down. And
I kind of change the thumbnail too.
yeah. So let's start off with you, Zeb. You talked already a little bit about getting into social media, but like, what's the drive for you? What made you decide, even though it was like one video that like went, you know, viral or whatever, like what made you decide to keep going and pursue that?
You want me to get deep with that, or a general answer?
I mean, something I like to go by is being real on this podcast. So if you want to go deep, you know, like, here's your opportunity.
Right. Reasons I started making videos and why I posted almost 7 times a day for that long was to really just distract myself and throw myself out there because of a social anxiety and a lot of depression in my life. And it made me very happy to see so many people commenting good things, very happy things. Obviously, you're going to have haters, but I tend to ignore them or just straight up delete the comment because I don't have time for that in my life. But the reason I started was there was a lot of, you know, bad things in my life that I brought upon myself. I probably won't say in the podcast because they're very bad. And that kind of just drove me to start making videos, and that connected me to a lot more people like you, Jake, and other friends. I've made hundreds upon hundreds, if not thousands of friends online because of my social media. And obviously I kind of feel alone sometimes, but I have so many people in my life that support me and know me. And there's well over 400 people who would just stand up and be like, yep, I know that guy. And that just makes me, I don't know, just super happy about that. But I will eventually, if I do one of these podcasts again, I will get into the other stuff of why and where I'm at in life. Just not right now because it's a sensitive subject.
Yeah, of course. And you know, I definitely affiliate with some of the things that you've said, and you know, it's kind of like the curse of the influencer or the artist, even. You know, like it starts becoming a repetitious cycle of people recognizing you for what you do rather than who you are. So, and that's just bouncing off of you saying sometimes it gets lonely, and I definitely get that. So yeah, no, I mean, that's really cool though, you know, like you, instead of falling into a rut that a lot of people do, you know, getting out of high school and kind of just giving up and not really going forward with their passions or whatever, you know, like you did the opposite, and I think it's going to, it already has paid off for you, I think, in many more ways than one, but I think it's going to continue. So now I'm going to bounce over to you, JL, and pretty much give me your spiel, you know, like, why does music attract you as a form of art, and what got you into that?
Well, the form of art and expression is, I wanted to open up a little bit about myself, which is, I personally was diagnosed with autism, specifically pervasive developmental disorder, which autism sometimes can be a very misunderstood disorder because people don't really understand what it entails. The typical behavior that you kind of see is repetitive behavior, like repetitive speech, which is called echolalia. But what kind of got me into doing art excuse me, um, artistic expression is that, I was mainly interested in, before doing music, had originally wanted to become an actor and be a child actor. Then later on down the line, I realized like it's easier to like be able to get a job doing music rather than doing theater, because with theater or film in general, there's a long process with auditions. Like, you either get the part or you don't, and stuff like that. But with music, you have pretty much have free reign to do whatever you want. And for me, music, it allowed me to express a part of myself that I have been wanting to share, and also to share why I'm doing this, what I want to do, and how I can inspire other people, regardless of whether they have ASD or not, or PDD, NOS, anything like that. Since then, I have become a little bit more open to telling people about my disorder, even though I do this with caution, because I'm afraid because I have been afraid that people would take advantage of me over that. I had gone through my fair share of bullying, but it wasn't because they knew I was autistic. It was because they didn't know what was wrong with me. So to me, music was kind of my safe haven. It was kind of my it was kind of like my release, my escape. And it just allowed me to put my feelings down and why I'm feeling this way. If people ask me, oh, what does this song mean to you? It's like, well, this could mean one thing, but to me it means a completely different thing.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I mean, I think that there's definitely a trend for artists in general. It's a form of expression to allow us to overcome something in our lives, whether it's something very isolated or if it's kind of just a generalized mental illness or something like that. And I think that definitely comes into the territory of internet influencers as well, because I feel like there's so many internet influencers out there right now, people who just kind of are on the internet doing a vast variety of different things. But I think it's not as recognized to be its own form of art, I think. I don't know if that's the right phrasing, but I think that something that all three of us can really identify with is some form of internal struggle that we have found something to channel it through, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, and so I think we're definitely on the same page about that part. I guess now that we've got sort of the past in wraps and we know why we're here, I want to know, what are your guys' goals? Zeb, you can start this off. Where do you want to wind up? What kind of you asked me something similar on my podcast the last week. What sort of fame do you want to reach? Do you want to become rich? What kind of influence do you want to have on the world?
Of course, to ask you that, I ask all the good questions. Where I want to be, how many years down the line do you want to go? 10, 50?
Let's say 10. 10 years.
Well, going along with what I said, I'm bettering myself mentally. 10 years down the line, or 15, doesn't matter. Eventually, whenever, obviously, I want to be filthy rich. I want to have a lot of money. I'm not gonna sugarcoat that and be like, oh, money doesn't matter. No, I want to be filthy rich. I want to buy a lot of good things that will benefit me and just live a good life, go on vacations, have a family, be able to do things like that. And more importantly, instead of buying all these nice things for me, I've always wanted to help others. I always see GoFundMe's, and Wikipedia is always asking me to donate to them, and all these other people that just are really in need. And I just want to be in a position one day where I can go pick up a coffee and give a barista a $1,000 tip and not think anything about it. And that is where I want to be with money and fame. That doesn't really matter too much for me. It would be nice to have a lot of people know me, but I've noticed a lot of people, like, let's take for example Dwayne Johnson, Billie Eilish, Ariana Grande. I see a lot of things with them. They have to go out in public covered in scarves, aviators, beanies, and they have to pretty much hide from the normal public, and that kind of scares me thinking about that. If I got that famous, I want to be able to go out and have a normal life and just go grocery shopping without being stopped every 2 minutes to get a picture or something like that. So fame isn't really too much of a worry for me. And my ultimate goal, after, being famous and money and stuff like that, my ultimate goal is what I've been trying to get into with you, is starting to get myself out there and start acting and, lead roles and actually make a difference in a show. Don't get me wrong, it was very exciting being in your films for, a few minutes or a few seconds. That was cool. But, I obviously want to become a full-time actor and really get into that in the future. And I'm not going to get anywhere if I just sit here and, do my own thing. So I'm trying really hard to get into that. I did have a whole plan to move to LA, which was extremely unrealistic. But, at least I had that motivation to do that. But eventually I will be in a position in my life where I can finally, make a name for myself and be in a lot of movies. And to end it off with my ultimate goal is to be in a Marvel's movie. I don't care if it's an extra or I'm a brand new character called the Black Belt-itis. I don't know. It'd be great. My ultimate goal is to be in a Marvel's movie. I don't care if I'm the guy with black clothing walking all the way in the background. I want to be in a Marvel's movie. That's like the ultimate goal out of everything.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You got you got your future lined out, I think, and there's definitely I pretty much I agree with everything that you said, as far as it applying to me as well. Like, dang it, I keep bumping shit. Yeah, I mean, I don't do a good job of talking about money myself because I obviously haven't been brought up on super wealthy lifestyles. But yeah, no, I mean, I'd like to get to a place where I'm wealthy too. And for me,
you want to be?
I don't think there's a limit, to be honest. No. I think, there's a lot of people out there who are like, I'm scared that the money will change me, or I'm scared that, or even not even scared, but like, they just think, well, over a certain amount, I feel like that's just too much, and there's no room to grow from there. But I totally disagree. I think if you're scared of who you will become after you get money, that's not really a fear on the money itself. It's a fear on your own character. And like you leave a pile of money sitting there, it's not going to do anything on its own. It's who caters to the money, who uses it. And so I definitely find ways to help people myself, giving to charities, and a lot of similar things that you talked about. And I feel the exact same way about fame as well. Like, I want to be well known. I want a certain level of fame, I think, but I definitely don't want to be followed on the streets. And I
I want to
think
be Tobey Maguire and beat the paparazzi.
get out of the way. There's cars there. Yeah. No, and I think film directors are kind of in a nice sweet spot. I mean, that's just my opinion. You know, like film directors are recognized, but it's people are chasing after the actors and stuff. You know, I think the most you see people like antagonizing directors is like that clip you saw of Quentin Tarantino walking out of a cafe and he starts like screaming at people and throwing his coffee at the paparazzi. You know.
Oh my god.
I don't know if I'm recalling that correct, but that's where I remember it. Anyway,
Oh no.
I've not seen that clip, but it sounds hilarious, and I want to see it.
I gotta watch that now.
and he's like, it's pretty much the equivalent of that video where he's like, "You're not that guy, pal. You're not that guy." Quentin Tarantino walks up and he's like, "You done? You done? You're filming me. Did you like what you see? Or you want to be a director now?" Like,
Have you seen that video of Andrew Garfield yet, where he chases the paparazzi who's just trying to get a photo, and he chases him down the street,
No.
and he
I have not.
gets really scared. And
That's
he
hilarious.
comes up to him and he tries to take a picture of him, and he goes, "Yo, you want a picture? You want a picture? You want to talk? You want to talk?" And he's like talking to him while he's backing up the camera.
like play the Spider-Man 3 black suited Spider-Man theme over that. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. Yeah. All right, Brianna, I think it is your turn. Where are your goals in life? You know, like music wise, are you gonna more or less follow a specific genre? Where does that lead? You know, like 10 years down the line, where do you see yourself?
Okay, well, first off, I completely agree of wanting to be wealthy, but not because like I want to show it off or anything, but it's just to be because I want to always keep improving the quality of whatever I'm creating. I want people to know me as like, oh gosh, like the next big thing in like movie magic as far as music goes, like John Williams, Danny Elfman, people like that, Hans Zimmer. But like there's not a lot of female composers out there, and I kind of want 10 years down the line, I kind of want to make an impact for not only people with disabilities who are taking an interest in the creative arts, but also women in general, because there are not a lot of females on the production side of things, because it's a male-dominated industry. I also want to be like rich in happiness and connections, because I like to connect with people, and it was very important for me to. Sorry, I bumped my mic. But it was very important for me to make friends at the time because of my autism. But I wanted to use that to connect with people, to be kind of emphasize with them and help inspire them as well. 10 years down the line, I also want to do. Obviously, I want to do acting as well, and acting and writing as well. That's why I have been at hard work with the Runner remake, a few others that I won't reveal just yet. Eventually, I want Marvel to make an autistic superhero, because that would be a lot of fun, and be able to showcase that diversity in the industry. Because we've had our first maybe not the first black, but we've had Black Panther. We've had Shang-Chi as our first Asian superhero. I definitely want there to be more superheroes who have like disabilities. Like, at least there was a superhero comic in the UK. It was called The Department of Ability, but it wasn't like well known or anything. So I kind of want like Marvel to explore that side of diversity.
Totally agree.
I think an autistic superhero would be nice because
Yeah,
you don't get a lot of
absolutely.
superheroes that are a lot of fun. Because when
Yeah.
you think of Marvel, at least in my opinion, and somebody asks me, "Who do you think is the funniest, superhero?" I'd be like Spider-Man. He's always making jokes about everything.
Yeah.
He's he seems like the most diverse character, and everybody loves him because I've seen so many audience reactions and stuff like
Mhm.
that of screaming when Spider-Man's on film, and then you see WandaVision, and it's like, ah.
Yeah.
But I think the whole autistic, superhero and stuff like that. I think that would be a good thing for Marvel to explore, especially
Yeah.
with. I've seen a lot of things of people trying to, change Spider-Man into a female and stuff like that. In my opinion, obviously there is a multiverse and that can happen,
Yeah.
but I really don't want them to stray away and make already cemented characters made by Stan Lee
Yeah.
different. I would rather have them make new characters, like I was talking about earlier, where I would like to join the Marvel Universe and become the Black Belt Titus. Something like that. If they want to introduce new superheroes, I think that would be good. But changing heroes they already have, I think, is a little bit too
Yeah.
far.
Have you guys there's this new one coming out called Morbius, which is literally the living vampire. I'm waiting for that to come out.
I have not heard of that.
You haven't heard of
So
Morbius?
Mm-mm.
yeah, he was this doctor who has this rare blood disease. And he was known in the comics as the living vampire. I don't know too much about Morbius, but that's what I could glimpse of.
He literally mentions Spider-Man and Venom in his trailer. I'm actually
Oh, really?
I'm very excited for that movie. And I'm actually very interested in seeing where they're taking things now, because of the whole MCU Sony thing
Yeah.
that's happening. But something I did want to bounce off of that you mentioned earlier, Zeb, just to clarify, is LA still an option for you? Are you thinking that you want to go that route, or are you wanting to make a name for yourself like here?
It really just depends on the whole situation of what the future holds. The whole reason why I stopped thinking about LA is because, the pandemic and COVID hitting, and that just felt like a hot spot where it just got worse. And it feels like the city in general is just getting worse as time goes on. So I think making a name for yourself in a different place, and then eventually going somewhere big like New York or LA would be good. I was looking for a different word other than good, but I'm done.
Well, no, I mean, like I think the same. I used to have my own thoughts about, okay, well, what if I went to LA and I tried to get some acting gigs and then eventually became a director there? I thought about that stuff, but I'm more or less creating something of my own here, and for me, I think it's important because there's a lot more diversity here than we I think realize. And by here I mean Douglas County, Oregon, and we're all from the same town, and so I think it's really cool how I mean, this is a living proof right here on this call. Like there's a bunch of different artistic vision coming to life here, but I think a lot of people think, okay, well, this isn't the best place. I mean, look at the demographic here. How am I supposed to get big? And then we sort of give up and head to the big places that everyone goes to, LA, New York,
And you don't get seen.
even Portland. And then, I mean, nobody gets seen because what are you supposed to do? Go to the place where everybody's going and then you become an ant in an anthill,
Yeah.
And so, I mean, this is what it's all about for me. Staying here, creating a whole new industry with new standards, and I'm on the film side of things, and you know, with music, I think there's a lot of different aspects to this place that could, you know, there's a lot of music needs, I think, and you know, I mean, just having a group of artistic visionaries working together to create something big here, I think that'd be awesome. And so
I appreciate what you said on your website. I was reading it the other day. You said you want to bring, like you're saying now, you want to bring more diversity and places where people can go, you know, start an acting career. Because when I started getting into that, I was scammed once and a lot of other things.
Oh, wow.
I have a lot of companies that reach out to me and they're like, why don't you come down here to, you know, act in a commercial? I'm like, where? Ohio? I'm like, are you dead ass? You want me to go all the way out there? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, do I have to pay for the plane ticket? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, no. It's things like that because there's so many scammers in the acting industry, which is very scary.
Oh, yeah.
And when you find smaller groups that actually genuinely love what they do, like Jake over here, and me, obviously, and you, people who actually love what they're doing, and you have a smaller group, and they show you their trailers and stuff, you can actually start growing from there. Because so many big cities and, you know, big areas, they're like, come act here, we'll pay you $10,000 for a commercial, but you have to drive all the way out here or fly all the way out here. Oh wait, you got here? Never mind, we casted somebody else. It's like,
Yeah.
enough with the big companies. Start making your smaller company and make it big, and once you're, you know, out there, then you're trusted.
yeah.
Yeah, because
And-
even the biggest companies have, like, really have flaws. Like, literally nobody is perfect. Like, for us, we're only going to get better from here. Because we always look back and think, okay, how can we make this better? And what are we going to do differently?
Yeah, I mean, and I think, you know, for anybody who's watching right now and has never worked with, you know, a big company or anything like that, for an acting gig or anything like that, you never go anywhere unless it's set in stone. I've worked long enough in the film industry and around other people that I know that if you have not signed a contract, if you haven't talked to anybody's manager yet and set things in stone, like, don't do it, because it turns out to be a scam, and it's really frustrating.
Oh,
It's happened to me before too, you know, where before I even started Spider King, and I'm like, dude, I want to do this, you know, I want to be an actor. I want to go out and act for big companies in LA. And luckily I never actually went down there and did it, but if they really do want you to go down there and act in a commercial or something, they will always, like, 100% of the time pay for your trans, you know, like, it's if they're saying that you have to pay or drive or fly down there yourself, it's not real. And if it is, then they don't know what they're doing. And I've thought many times about getting myself a manager or an agent or something. And I've tried, and I actually still am kind of pursuing that sort of thing. But, you know, even the smaller companies out there, they just kind of ignore the little guy. And that really is truly what I'm trying to do here, is to create opportunities for anybody to really have the same opportunity as anybody else, you know, like, and not only for anybody to come in here and act for Spider King Studios, but for it to be an educational process as well. You don't have to be an A-lister or, like, the most, like, known person in the world or know exactly what you're doing. You can come in here, we'll teach you everything you need to know. You know, if there's something you don't get, you won't be bashed for it. You know, that's the kind of...
You're supposed to say that line, get out.
So, yeah. So, like, I guess if that's leading into the territory of, like, if we're wanting to stay here and create something big, and say you guys wanted to stick along for that ride, like, where in Spider King Studios specifically do you see yourself? Like Zeb, you talked about acting for us, but what does that mean for the long term? Like, do you see yourself sticking around for Spider King Studio stuff in the long term?
No.
No,
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
it's actually fine, if that's your answer. But
I see myself, like, let's take for example, if I'm in an upcoming movie, like if you were to put me in an upcoming movie, and then you did that, and some agent from a really big movie franchise reached out to me and said, "Oh my gosh, I really like your acting." I'm not saying I'm a good actor. I don't know if I am because I never really acted in a movie.
Oh,
but if
stop
somebody,
it. The Wish Giver.
I sucked in that. Anyways, if they reached out to me and they're like, "Why don't you come work for us and act for me?" I'd be like, "Sure, I'll do that." But I would never leave Spider King Studios because you're my friend from high school, and I will always come back. If I became a big time actor and I had all this money, I would still come back and act in shows, even if by a point in, like, let's say 5 years, you're still trying to get up there, which I don't think. I think in 5 years you're going to be much larger than you are now. But if I was a big-time actor, I'd still come back and act in movies because that's where I came from and that's where I started. And what's really sad about nowadays is that a lot of acting careers stem from luck. And there's a lot of very skilled people out there that are really, really good at acting, but they don't get seen because they don't know what to do, they don't know where to go, and they make these movies and not very many people see them. But it all comes down just to effort. You have to consistently always do what you love, and if you just stop, like, let's say for my streaming career, I just stopped suddenly, but it was for a good cause. I needed to work on my mental health, and eventually I'll start doing it again. But I noticed when I just stopped, obviously when you stop, everything just ends, and people lose interest really fast. So you have to be consistently pumping out yourself and getting out there until you get into that comfortable position where you want to be. Because you can't just go, and then see no results and stop. No, you have to keep going, no matter how long it takes to see those results. But to answer your question, yeah, I'll leave you. I don't care about Spider King Studios.
Me
Wow.
too. Me too. Screw Spider King Studios. Brianna, you're the CEO now. Good luck.
Oh, God.
All right. So, Brianna, let's say a couple of years from now, you get a phone call and someone's like, "Hey, I heard your song. It's really awesome. Let's get you on a record deal," or something like that. And you make it huge. Like you're making the big bucks. You're breaking into the industry. Are you going to remember little old Spider King?
Oh, absolutely. because Spider King Studios would actually be the reason my career would started taking off. Because even though where we live, there is not a whole lot of opportunity aside from UACT, we were the ones who created opportunities, not only for ourselves, but for our community. So even if I'm, like, making it big, being like, be like the next, who's like a good, like, relevant artist. I don't want to say Billie Eilish because she did that in a short amount of time. No offense to anybody who likes Billie Eilish, but Beyonce, yeah, the next Beyonce, something like that.
Beyonce?
Because I love her. But yeah, I would always remember that I would never forget Spider King Studios because they were the ones who started the whole thing.
And with forgetting, sorry to cut you off, Spider King Studios, I might forget Spider King Studios, obviously, because I am not forgetting where it came from, and I'm not forgetting the people that I worked with, and I'm not forgetting the friends. Obviously, I might forget, the whole name, because the name can change. The structure can change, everything can change, your website can change, all that can change, but you as a person, you'll be my friend. I'm not going to forget you. I'm not going to forget the people I worked with. That's what's most important. And Spider King does bring all of us together, but it's more importantly the people that, you're working with that I won't forget. And I've been in that position where somebody got super big. I'm not going to say his name or get into any specifics, but he won the championship for something of our state and got really big and started, going on and moving for all this stuff. And I reached out to him and I said, "What happened? You don't talk to me anymore." He goes, "You're not good enough. You're not popular enough. I don't want to talk to you." And I was just kind of in disbelief that he said that. And I'm like, "Did you just, I didn't even respond. I just blocked him. I'm like, I'm not even gonna care about that." So that kind of got me thinking really well for in my future. Obviously, if I'm really big, I'm not gonna just throw everybody to the side and curb stomp them. I'm gonna remember them. I'll even, if I got that big, I'd be shouting out my friends and always, saying this is the guy. Yeah, I know him.
Damn straight.
Like this guy right here, he has maybe like 10 followers on Instagram, and then I'm over here with 50 million. I'd still be like, this is my best friend. This is the guy. This is the guy right here. And what really hurts is sometimes there were situations where I was dating this girl. She had maybe like 200 followers or something on TikTok, and I had 150,000. Somebody reached out to me in the comments and like, "Are you dating her? It's such a vast follower difference." And I was just kind of baffled by that comment. I'm like, does that really matter?
Yeah.
It
Not
doesn't
really.
It doesn't matter how many followers you have. It matters where you came from and who you are as a person. It doesn't matter your fame or your wealth or anything like that.
Yeah.
You always have to remember where you came from and the people that you worked with. Because if you forget that, then you'll forget yourself.
Yeah, and all that really matters, if you're, it doesn't really matter, if you're in a relationship with someone who has, a different follow count, like many influencers have, it shouldn't really matter the follower count or the platform. It should really matter about, the relationship itself, whether the partners are happy, the two partners are happy, or multiple if you're polyamory.
Yeah, and I mean, it's really wild that someone would say something so weird like that. They don't have enough as many followers as you. Why are you with them? But some people do think that way.
Yeah,
and it's weird. I don't think I could ever put myself in that mindset. If and when I do get bigger than I am now, I fully intend to not only remember those who were with me back in the beginning, but I'm going to do everything in my power to bring everyone up with me. Because I think it's, how am I supposed to sit up here and talk about opportunities when I'm not going to help people along the way? Why am I going to reap all the reward myself instead of giving other people the chance to thrive with me? It's a lonely life if you're going to go up there and be alone. So,
You're right about that, and you should pay me 75% of your income just because you should.
Hell yeah. 75% of my income, so you want 10 cents? No.
Okay, so there is a Facebook, a question in our Facebook chat, which
Where?
is, what is our next project?
I don't even see that. Is that on yours?
It's on mine.
Oh,
yeah.
I see it. What the heck? What is our next project? Why are they asking what? I'm just kidding. Yeah, our next project, and usually we bounce right on these things, or at least we're trying to. Death with Dignity has been so big that it's been hard to like get past it because I'm still so excited. It's this week, this Thursday is our premiere. And it's so exciting because we're sold out all 3 nights, and that's crazy. And I've talked to the theater, and we're definitely going to be doing another run of it. We're gonna
sold out. Do you mean like every single seat's gonna be taken?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, every single seat has been taken for all 3 days, and I think because there's a lot of people who have been reaching out and saying that they want to see it and that they weren't able to because of holidays or whatever, and we're definitely going to extend to another showing so that
hell yes,
like at the end of January or something like that, so that more people can come out and watch it. So
watch out for that.
Yeah. Our next project, though, it's called Juvenile. It's going to be a slasher / horror. The script, it's still in the script writing phase, but it's almost done. And by almost done, I mean like in the next like day or so, it's going to be done. And it's I really hate to like toot my own horn and everything, but like I'm very happy with the story that I've constructed so far. It took a long time for me to actually sit down and get to it, but like once I got into that mindset, I just couldn't stop. And I was literally up until like 5:30, 6 a.m. last night, just nonstop writing this thing.
Oh wow!
Like once I get going, I can't stop. That's just how I am as a person, I think. And without spoiling anything, I mean, I think the story itself plays on a lot of slasher tropes, and so that's going to make it fun. There's going to be moments of comedy and everything like that, as there should be, but it's also going to mix into a new, I think something new that we haven't ever seen before, just when it comes to horror, more specifically slasher. So I'm pretty excited about this. Again, it's called Juvenile. So we're looking to hold auditions for roles that have not already been taken like end of January, beginning of February, probably around then. And then we're going to get into the actual production, towards the latter half of February. That's my prediction. Could be wrong.
So exciting.
Woo!
Kind of scared me.
Yeah. I just remember when I grabbed my thing and just threw it.
My headset's so loud. I really, really have to go to the bathroom. Be right back. Yeah.
Oh, he's gone. Finally, we can talk some crap about this guy. Who is this man? Look at that picture. Look at that picture right there.
Yeah,
just looking at himself in the mirror. I mean, who, like, so self-indulgent. Like, I'm just kidding. Zeb's great.
I mean, but like, same,
Did I, like, skip over you with a talking point at all? Have you said everything you want to say? Is there more you want to touch on while he's gone?
I mean, not really. I mean, other than like wanting to, like, again, the whole improving myself, which is like obviously rewriting Runner, obviously, which I have done. I'm pretty much done. I'm just looking through grammatical errors and stuff.
Did we really do Runner in 2018?
Yeah, we did.
I feel like we've had this conversation before, and I can't believe it was 2018.
Maybe like not in a podcast, but like we've had like all of our scene breakdowns. Like as I went through the new script and then went back to the like very, very original script, like with that did not have our changes. The original script compared to the new one was like about 4 times as long. So the original script that I had was 20 pages. And then when we did some revisions of that, it was like maybe like 32 pages. The new one is between like 70 to 80 pages.
Wow.
It's a lot of pages.
So that's like feature film length.
That's like feature film.
So that's where you're wanting to go with this then? You want to make Runner a feature?
Absolutely, yeah. And the only reason I wanted to remake is because, one, points of story clarification, because when looking back, it seemed everything was like all meshed together, and it kind of like didn't make sense. But it was understandable because we were filming during like the production of the school musical, which was The Sound of Music at the time.
I can't fathom that.
But also I wanted to, because of we're improving in quality, I wanted to be a also better quality and see how much has changed since the last 3 years.
I mean, I totally forget that it was senior year that we did this.
Yeah, it was insane.
For me, I remember Dead Man Walking, and that was
our junior year.
I was a
we were like
baby.
16.
I was a baby in Dead Man
We were like
Walking.
babies.
How far advanced that movie was pretty damn good for starting out.
Yeah.
Can we give a round of
exactly.
applause for Jake for that?
Yeah, absolutely. And then that was done on an iPhone too. Like the entirety of that film.
Yeah, like all of it. It was
Yeah.
filmed on an iPhone. It was edited on an iPhone. that shows you. That's proof. That's proof that if you want to do something, just freaking do it, man.
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly. Don't let technology and shite hold you back.
if you know what you're doing, you're gonna be able to get decent shots. It might not be like the most
exactly.
best quality on a phone, but like I think that movie was actually pretty okay. And the thing is like, if it wasn't for me using copyrighted music, I would have made big bucks on that.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Like we're at
Learn from your mistakes.
We're at 180,000 views on Dead Man Walking.
180,000 views, and if we are going by the current AdSense guidelines, I think that would get us up to like $18,000 for that, right? So,
If it makes you feel any better, if I had my TikTok revenue now, or back then when I made all my popular videos, I probably would have made at least 30 or 40K off of it. But I wasn't, what's the word, available for that? I don't know.
you didn't reach.
Eligible?
I didn't meet the requirements.
Eligible.
Yeah.
There was a lot of requirements that were terrible. A
Yeah.
lot of them.
Yeah.
Like the requirements to, get 10,000 followers for 100,000.
Yeah.
I wasn't there yet. And a certain amount of likes, certain amount of videos
Yeah.
kind of sucked.
Yeah.
I'm
Something.
trying so hard not to look at my tiny hands.
Tiny hands, tiny man.
Yeah, tiny hands, tiny hands.
I mean, just as far as career path opportunities go, I think my biggest setback is the revenue.
Yeah.
Because a lot of my ideas are big, but they require a bigger budget. And I will say that you don't have to have a ton of money to make a film. A lot of people, I've worked on films with, huge budgets, as the camera operator or a crew member. And some people talk about like $50,000 being a micro budget film. And I'm like, are you kidding? $50,000 is like, how much I could do with $50,000? And here I am.
You can do a lot.
I made Death with Dignity with $5,000, and that's actually being generous. And then I made Limbo with $500, not even. That's also being generous. And but there's still films being made, and I think that they're okay. They're not like the best, but imagine what I could do with the money and resources. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I think once the money gets rolling in, things will become easier. Not only in my personal life, because things have been a little difficult lately with as far as finances go in my personal life, but as like Spire King Studios, I think the moment we reach a cap where I guess that the moment where we're like known, quote unquote, where like that money starts coming in, I think that's going to be the make it moment. And because I mean we have a shop up now. I'll put that link in the description. We have a merchandise shop, but who's gonna buy our merch if they don't know us? You know, like right now it's people's moms buying a sweater. So
I bought a shirt.
Yeah. No, we actually have a new merch line up, and I'm actually very happy with that. I made a sort of partnership with a different store, and there's like different options up there now.
Oh, and the Red is it the Redbubble store?
No, that was our original store, but now it's like an it's a different store. I have the Redbubble up there because there's like different designs that we can work from. But there's a new store attached to our page, and there's like a bunch of cool options up there now.
Okay.
And I'm only going to expand on it. But that's my biggest problem. I've been like try to stay as innovative as I possibly can. I do commercial work and things, but I guess right now is that early stage that's super hard, getting off your feet.
Yeah, especially like if you are like if you're not making much in something you love doing, you gotta at least like work somewhere like you're at least providing for yourself, even if it's at a job you hate, like me, for example.
Yeah, I mean this is why everybody hates. I mean people just stop doing what they love because they don't have enough like money to continue it or something like that. That's why a lot of people just give up, and I think that's not the right path. You gotta keep going. I Spider King Studios for me isn't just there is no level of stopping for me. Like it's gonna keep going. There's really no limit for me. You have to just take a step back for a brief moment and kind of recollect yourself if you need to do that. People do experience burnout, but people who do experience burnout are never gonna you know what, I'm done with this, I'm tired, I'm gonna stop. They're always okay, I'm ready to come back, I just needed time to reevaluate myself or self-reflect. Yeah. Okay, so I think we're reaching towards an end point here pretty soon. Was there anything that you guys wanted to touch on before I get on to my last? Hell no.
I had a question.
Go for it.
What is your opinion on normalizing 4-day work weeks instead of 5? Wasting 40 hours of your life every week, which is almost probably 20 to 30 years of your life that not 20 to 30, maybe 20 years of your life at working, which I find absolutely ridiculous. And I think cutting that down to 4 days a week would be a lot better, so you had time to work on other things and enjoy things like acting and stuff like that. And I want another person's opinion on that, because I think it would be a lot better for everybody in general. Not forcing people only work 4 days a week, but making it available to where you can do that being paid the same amount.
Yeah, I actually definitely agree with that, and I have firsthand experience on living through that too, a change in the same workplace and seeing the differences. I used to work at a dairy plant, and it started off with being 5 days a week, 40 hours, and it's a general labor job, super physically, it's a physical job. And so I mean, the hours were there, they were deducted because it was a 5 hour or 5 days, but it was still 40 hours a week. But them changing it to being 4 days a week, they eventually changed it back to 5 for some reason, but when they changed it to 4 days a week, that actually helped me out a lot. Not only having an extra day just to like decompress in the middle of the week, it was like Wednesdays that I had my day off, and then the weekends. So I mean, it's just, I think overall it's a really good idea. I think COVID in some weird funny way is actually kind of allowing employers to experience, we don't have to like capitalize so much on people's time anymore. There's like a lot more ways to have systems in place that require less people. People will argue that takes away people's jobs though. But I think we're entering an age now that where people are going to start finding that they can be self-sustaining and kind of become entrepreneurs, and I think that's really good. That is also going to break into the whole the factor that now everybody's going to start doing this, and it's going to make it harder for people to make a break or whatever. It's like the same argument of going into LA. Well, now everyone's doing it, but I think just like anything else, if you stand out and you do a good job and you're a hard worker and you're persistent, you'll go far. But I ramble. So to answer your question, yeah, I agree. I think it's overall a good decision.
Going along with that, not everyone wants to admit it because they're afraid of being fired or stuff like that. I'm not going to say I do it. I used to a lot, but there are millions of workers in the workforce. Yeah, you have an 8-hour day, but some jobs, a lot of jobs, people will hide from cameras or hide from their bosses or just straight up stand there and do nothing and waste a lot of time. I'd say if in your workforce, I'd say pretty much 30 to 40% of the time, I'm not saying everybody, but a lot of people, 30 to 40% of the time, you're standing there doing nothing, or you're avoiding cameras or avoiding your boss and wasting your time that you could be using to do something else valuable, because you don't have to be working your arse off 8 hours straight doing the best you possibly can, flipping a burger, doing something like that. You don't have to be doing that.
No,
because
like
you are not.
No one should have to do
not
that.
Born to just work.
100%. And that was actually a big question I asked myself when working that job. We had this environmental list of basically cleaning duties that you had to do. And I would always get these tasks done in a very fast amount of time because I just don't mess around when I'm doing my job. And they
tell you to do it slower.
Yeah, they tell you to do it slower, or my boss would get mad at me for doing exactly what you said, just standing there doing nothing, or like being on my phone or something. And there's also times where I literally had nothing to do until the next batch was ready for the dairy stuff. And so I would constantly be thinking to myself, like, what if there was a system put in place where maybe, I don't know, we could pay a salary to get the job done the time it needed to be done, and then just let people go home. Like, the same amount of work is being put into it, but instead of those off times where people are just standing there doing nothing, why don't you monetize off the time you're actually working, turn it into a salary instead of an hourly wage, and then like let people go home to see their families, do what they want to do,
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, for me personally, the current job I work at, I normally work outside in front of the store doing the grill and stuff, but during the weekdays, sometimes I get scheduled to work, or I get called in because actually this happened to me yesterday. Yesterday. Somebody outright refused to work, and they had to call me in because there was nobody else. Sometimes there would be nothing for me to do because I'm already like, like cleaning stuff. I'm like refilling the salads, refilling the hot case and stuff like that. But then when I get done with all of that, there's like literally nothing to do until there's like customers coming up to our cases, and there would be a rush. Like honestly, like the 4 days a week thing, I definitely agree with, as long as it's not like not too staggered, because I work 3 days, because mostly I work 3 days in a row, but then there would be a day where I have it off, and then possibly the next day or next 2 days I end up working, which that to me, that's fine with, as long as I'm not working like over 5 days a week. I try not to do that because it's exhausting. It's really exhausting because I mostly work during the night, and there could have been more stuff that I could be doing during the night, like doing a late night music session or doing a D&D game that, like, doing a big boss battle that maybe last for 5 hours.
Yeah.
There's a lot of situations where your family or your friends want to hang out with you, or you want to open yourself up to relationships, and you try to make plans. Oh, I have to work that day. Oh, I have to work that day.
Yeah, and that sucks. And the sucky part about
and people get mad at you thinking you're just making excuses or something.
Right?
Yeah, and the sucky part about that
I work, bro.
Yeah, the sucky part about that is that we're like really short-staffed, and we have to make them in advance. And sometimes we might not even get those days off because we're so short-staffed.
And I think along with 4-day work weeks, or not even, we don't even have to do that if we're still doing the 5-day work weeks, because eventually I think there's going to be a big change in the workforce, because a lot of the older folk think people need to work their asses off every day because they were working back in the 1900s, and then even before that in the 1800s, where you actually had to work and survive. Nowadays, you're paid and you get to go to the grocery store and pick up meat and stuff like that. And in those situations, I think we should normalize having workers, do their job, get everything done, do it correctly. And if nothing needs to be done, don't tell your coworker, "We'll find something to do," instead of standing there. No, don't tell your coworker that. Normalize having them, hang out, actually take some time, be on their phone, and still be there. It's not my fault your business isn't thriving and you don't have any customers coming in. You gotta wait there and wait for a customer to come in so you can actually do your job. And I was in that situation as a host at a restaurant. I'm not gonna name the restaurant. I'm not gonna bash on them, but I was fired because I was inexperienced and I did everything correctly. I had to wear a suit. I had to slick my hair back. I had to have a list of things to do, and I would get it done very quickly and very efficiently, and it would be spotless. And then they would always come out and they're like, "Why are you just standing here?" I'm like, "Well, I'm the host. I gotta be here just in case someone walks in." Like, "Why don't you go in the back and clean something?" I'm like, "If I do that, then I can't greet the customers who come in. We'll figure it out." And I'm like, I'm doing what I need to do.
Hire a cleaner to clean. Let the host be host.
I came in one day and I walked in the kitchen and everybody gave me this look. They just all looked at me like this. And then this one girl was like, "He's here." And I'm like, "Great, what does this mean?" But this guy that I never met in my entire life, apparently he was like above the manager that hired me, comes in, he's like, "Come to the office with me." And he goes, "I'm gonna have to let you go," just like that. And I'm like,
"Oh my god!"
Why? He's like, "You're
hate
inexperienced." And I'm like, "This is my first job, right? And I'm learning how to work, and that's why I'm inexperienced." And he goes, "Well, that's not my fault." I'm like, "Well, if you're gonna be that way," and I walked out. I'm like, I need to find like a boss who cares for me and actually genuinely wants me to work. And happily, I'm in a situation where my boss has given me so much leniency that I'm to the point where I feel really bad because of how much leniency I have given my boss. Because they are consistently always trying to push me to do better, and she's even told me that she thinks of me as a son. And I think a lot of bosses and managers and stuff like that need to, if you're working as a place where you have to be superior to others, you need to actually tell them what to do, show them how to do it. Don't just, let them go off in the wind and frolic like a unicorn, just, going feral. You gotta actually show them, and you gotta, connect a relationship with that coworker, because they're not gonna get anywhere in life. They're not gonna get an experience if you just, give them a 5 pages of clean this, clean that.
Yeah.
You gotta, connect there.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I avoid telling most people about my ASD because of the stigma around it. So, but that's why I only tell like just people I trust. There are like some people I don't trust at all because again, like they're gonna like take advantage of me for that, or like try to get me fired. Like, not that that's ever happened, and I'm hoping that doesn't happen, but
And it's illegal.
yeah, it is illegal. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
It's also stupid that it is legal to fire someone for no reason in Oregon. Anyways, as you were saying.
It's like I think it's only within like 90 days or something like that.
the probation period,
Yeah, the probation period.
which is like, whatever.
Like, it's weird. Like, it shouldn't even be like 90 days. It should be like maybe a little bit less than that.
I find myself being pretty happy with like the current work situation I'm in. You being my own boss and kind of working on my own schedule. I am the media director for a church, so that means I work for them on certain days that they need me, but like it's not a time sensitive job.
Yeah.
And of course, like the situations that led me to not be employed is not all that great. Being super freaking injured, because but I mean, it takes sometimes weird things happen, and I don't know if any of you believe that things happen for a reason, but like if it wasn't for the things that have happened to me, I don't think I would be here, being able to turn Spider King Studios into as heavy of a career as I wanted. So
Going along with what you said,
Yeah.
everything happens for a reason. I'm not gonna try to change your beliefs.
Yeah.
I'm sure Brianna is thinking the same thing.
Yeah,
I don't
also
like to
know
believe
that
that.
karma is a real thing.
I like to think of manifestation, and obviously I'm a Christian and I believe in, the greater stuff. But I used to always think things happen for a reason, and I used to always, well, it is what it is. But at this point, I'm like, if everything happens for a reason, you don't have any free will. You're always programmed to do everything that you do. Like, I touch my mouse right there. I was programmed to do that. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm also a firm believer of karma. Like, if you do good things, a good karma will come to you. If you do bad things, karma's gonna come back to bite you in the ass later.
yeah.
What's really sad about that is a lot of bad people are in good positions.
Yeah.
Karma can work, but not for everybody.
Right.
Because I'd like to think that I do a lot of good things in my life, and I've done a lot of terrible, terrible, unspeakable things in my life. Never killed someone, but that's like a terrible, unspeakable thing. But if somebody, takes a life, that is something that is just extremely bad, and a lot of bad karma can come on you.
Yeah.
But in my position, I've done terrible things. Like, in past relationships, I was very mentally draining on them, and I think a lot of my karma comes from that. But I've done a lot of good things and a lot of things to resolve that. So I kind of believe in karma and kind of don't, because I don't want to blame it on what I did in my past. I'm just like, it is what it is, but I still, have the free will to do what I want. I know that I've done bad things in my life, but all that matters to me is that I'm changing and I'm doing better now than who I was back then.
Yeah, we all have a choice of whether we want to change to better ourselves or not.
Yeah, religious beliefs in particular is something that I'm still trying to find myself. You know, I'd like to consider myself pretty open-minded. You know, every once in a while I do pray, and I do try to seek a higher power. So, and you know, there are moments of frustration, you know, within me where I'm like, you know, like, why did this life-changing thing happen to me? You know, like, what did I do to deserve that? And then there's like moments of somewhat good that come out of that, like me being able to pursue Spire King Studios and everything like that. But then I'm like, I just think, you know, like the mental stuff that's come from it, the physical injuries that are going to impact me for the rest of my life. Like, is it worth it? Those sort of questions, you know. So, you know, I think whether people are religious or not, you know, you try to be the best person you can be, you know, try to live the life that you want to live, and, you know, like, live with no regrets.
Didn't I ask you that question if you have any regrets?
I was asked in the previous episode.
You asked me in my previous podcast, and I think what I said is that there are some things in my life that I do regret doing, but I don't I mean,
I know what you're trying to say.
I regret how I've handled certain situations, but I don't regret the decisions I've made to lead me to where I am now, because then I wouldn't know who I am as a person as a result of that.
A lot of people ask me, do I regret anything? And like I've said, I've done some things in the past, like things, but I don't regret anything I have ever done my entire life. I don't regret a single thing because it has led me to where I am now. And I do not have any guilt. I do not have any regrets. I do not. You know, obviously I care about what I've done in the past, but I don't regret anything because it has made me the person I am. And the reason why I don't regret anything in the past is because I can't change it. I can't change what I've done. And if I, you know, think about the things that I've done, and I continue thinking about that, it's going to throw me down in a deep hole. All I can do right now is change who I am as a person and change my actions so those actions don't happen again. Someone asked me, they're like, well, if you're mad at this person, and what if they died tomorrow? What if they passed away? I'm like, well, I was angry at them and I chose not to speak to them through my mental health, and I thought it would strengthen our relationship, and sadly they passed away. Do I regret not talking to them? No, I don't. And that sounds horrible, but it's how I believe. Obviously, it'd be really sad that they passed away, and I would, you know, take time to grieve, but I would not regret the decision of not talking to that person.
Yeah, and something I do want to touch down on too is that, you know, like, I mean, you've grown from things too, right? You know, like those past things that you've done that maybe not the best things for you to have done. Do you see yourself doing those things again, or have you learned from those things? Are you moving on? Are you a better person now?
Mm-hmm. Well, the thing when I say horribly, in my opinion, I think it's horrible. It's the manipulation. I'm saying I am because I'm still working on it. I am a very manipulative person. And there's a lot of times in my past where I manipulated a person into believing what I wanted to believe or doing what I wanted them to do. And that came to the realization when, you know, I've told a lot of people where, you know, I injured myself in my hand. That was a life-threatening situation, even though I didn't know it at the time. But after that, I was bedbound because, you know, it took a nerve out of my leg and I couldn't go anywhere. So I was sitting there and I was thinking about a lot of things, and I said, I really need to change the person I am. And like you asked, do I see myself doing those things again? And I have caught myself doing those things again. To count how many times I've done it in 2021, probably 2 or 3 times, where I've purposely manipulated somebody in doing something or telling me something or believing in something, and then I immediately recognized it, and then I told them straight up because I hate lying. I immediately told them, I'm like, I manipulated you. I'm not gonna lie to you. I did that, and I need you to realize that because I'm trying to better myself as a person and not do it. And it's really hard because when you are a narcissist, I am a narcissist, it's very, very hard to get that out of your mental state, is to not be one. And I am still working on that, and hopefully a year down the line, or I'm not giving myself a timeline, hopefully soon I can finally say to myself one day, I am not narcissistic, I am not manipulative. And I'm just waiting for that day where I'm finally be able to be comfortable enough to say that.
So in those moments where you catch yourself manipulating someone, is that, do you have a feeling of, do you feel bad? Is that why you tell them that you feel bad? Okay.
Well, I do. I feel bad, and then I realize the damage that I could do to that person if they found out later. I think more of them than I think of myself. I'm like, well, I just told this person that, and I basically, like, I immediately tell them, not even a second later. I'm like, because it's, when you're a narcissist, things that you say just come out. You don't think about it. You don't think about what you're saying. So when I told them that, I would immediately tell them afterwards, I'm like, I did that, and I don't want you to find out later. I don't want you hurting. So I'm going to tell you now that I did that, and if you want to stop talking to me, it's fine. But I'm like, I don't like lying to people, because manipulation is pretty much lies. And I hate lying. Lying sucks. Lying is stupid.
Well, everybody's on their own journey. And I don't think it's up to anybody in particular to judge another person on where they're at in their journey, as long as they're making progress and they're not putting other people down. So, good on you for taking those strides and realizing those things, moving forward. And I've noticed similar things within myself too, especially when I'm in a very emotionally vulnerable spot where someone is making me feel down. I sometimes realize that I purposefully say things that might put them down just because they've put me down or something like that. And then, and it's just not good, It's like, what good does that do? And so...
Eye for an eye, I don't believe in that.
Exactly. It's better just be the better person and just live your life. And that goes back all the way to when you said, you have haters. And for me, I used to respond to people that said things that I didn't agree with, or I guess were haters, like I have haters now, and it's weird, like when you start getting haters, you're like, why? Like, what am I doing?
Yeah, like,
what am I doing wrong? You don't like my hair? You don't like my face? What's going on?
the worst type of hater is like when they don't really have a reason to not like you. It'd be like, it's like, why do you hate me? It's like, I just do. Like, I don't really have a reason to.
Well, I mean, it's like, I mean, even it doesn't really even matter. Like, constructive criticism is one thing, but like just hating for no reason, I have that now, and I'm like, well, I guess this is how I know I'm going the right direction. Because
speaking of haters, I have a question for both of you, and I will answer it after both of you answer. I want Brianna to answer first. Are you very forgiving? No. Are you a very forgiving person? Do you forgive easily?
Back then I actually was maybe a little too forgiving because I can put up with a lot. I'm a very, very nice person, but if you piss me off, you're gonna get cut out completely. It was like, okay, you know what, I can't deal with this anymore. But I've been working on, like thinking about what the person has done to me. Like if they have done something like really, really horrible to me, which I don't really know a lot of people who have done that, there's like really no reason to forgive them. If it actually depends if they decide that they're going to change. That's when that's when I decide, like, okay, I think there is room for forgiveness for me. Back then, I would forgive too easily, but now I am working on, like, if that person is willing to change, then I am more than willing to forgive that person.
You said that you cut people out of your life. Do you forgive them before or after, or sometimes before and after?
I would
Or
like,
never?
well, it really depends on the person. I would occasionally, like, look back at my old classmates, like the ones who have bullied me, and it's like, hey, you know what? Maybe I should reach out to them, see how they're doing, and then I have seen that they have changed. Like, hey, I know we didn't end on good terms, but, like, hey, maybe sometime we could start over. It's kind of like that kind of thing.
Interesting. What about you, Jake?
When I was younger, I would be overly forgiving because I was very validation driven. I seek the approval of others all the time. Mm-hmm. And so when somebody wronged me, I would very easily be open to forgive them and be like, hey, no, it's okay, because I wanted somebody to be there as a friend more than I wanted my own mental health secure. So
you traded feeling alone for feeling heard.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But nowadays I definitely see myself, and I don't think it's necessarily a good thing. I think it's more of just a neutral thing, to be honest. And it really depends on the context too. If somebody like whacks me with a freaking pole and they're like, "Oh, sorry, bro," yeah, I'll forgive them. But like, if somebody genuinely does wrong me, I'm very, very less likely to forgive. And unless they have true remorse for what they've done, I'm definitely the kind of person now to like check out emotionally and just be like, okay, you're out of my life now, because I'm a busy person now. Like, I'm not so indulged in like how others view me as much anymore. I'm not as indulged in like how, like, what do I need to do to get the approval of people. So it's like, I have a mission, I have a goal for where I'm going in life, and if people don't fit that vision and goal, then what are they doing in my subconscious? What are they doing in my conscience? Like, they don't have a place anymore, and I just kind of boot them out, both physically and mentally. Block them on social media or not, like, that's kind of what I do more so now. So overall, no. I mean, I sure, I might be a forgiving person, but like, it's like, yeah.
I noticed both of you said that you're were overly forgiving, and in my opinion, I disagree with that. You can't be overly forgiving. I forgave and forgive every single person in my life, because holding a grudge, I heard, is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to get hurt. When you are not forgiving people, that can really drain on your mental health and ultimately drain on their mental health. Like, not even recently, 4 or 5 weeks ago, like 10 weeks ago, I don't even know how long it's been, but this girl I was talking to for about 2 months, I realized that she was talking to someone behind my back for that entirety of 2 months. Immediately, I got into a call. I was super angry. I told her how I felt, and I told her that it's over. I'm cutting you out of my life. Goodbye. Blocked her and everything. But in that moment, I immediately forgave her. I was like, okay, she did what she did, but she's forgiven. But I'm not going to go out of my way and immediately tell her I forgive you, because that's going to make her go do it again, because she thinks there's no consequences. But if she reached out to me tomorrow and she said, I'm sorry for doing this, I would tell her I forgive you. But like, in that situation, you can't immediately tell someone you forgive them, because that's going to make them not learn. That's going to,
But do you genuinely forgive them for how much they've hurt you?
Yes. I've forgiven,
I-
and I will always forgive everybody.
I, not an attack on you personally, but I find that hard to believe, that it's that easy to forgive somebody. For me personally, I don't think it's really a mental toll to not forgive somebody. If you're constantly thinking about it, then yes, like if it's, if it's that big of an issue for you. But if somebody's wronged you and they're not really willing to reciprocate their fault on things, I don't think there's anything wrong with acknowledging the fact that they messed up and that they can't have the conclusion or the peace of mind to know that you forgive them. Like, I don't think they deserve that.
I understand what you're saying. And people would look at me like, if all 7.7 billion people on the earth watched this video and heard what I said about forgiving everybody, I'm sure 90% of those people would disagree with me, because in my own state of mind, I'm very, very solidated, however you say that word, on
Solidated.
what I believe. Yes, I'm very open-minded, and I will talk about topics, but it's very hard to change my mind. And in that situation, I'm going to say this now because I'm very open. I tell everybody I've attempted 17 times in my life, and that is a lot. And I forgave myself for every single time that I've tried because of the person that I'm becoming now. Let's say that somebody goes and shoots me in the leg and just runs away. And 6 months later, they are still the same person shooting others in the leg. I would forgive them. I'd be like, yeah, you shot me in the leg. I'm better now. Or if I lost my leg or whatever, I would still forgive them. I'd be like, what you did was a very, bad thing. And even if you are the same person that you are now, I still forgive you. And I really hope that you do change in the future, even if it doesn't seem like you're going to.
Okay. I think I understand your mindset now. You do it for you and not for them. That's right? Okay.
Kind of.
Because, I mean, like, if they're the same and you say, I forgive you, what then when they say, okay, I don't care, like, who are you? I shot you in the leg, let me do it again. Like, is it valid? Like, why does the forgiveness matter at that point?
Like I said, if I forgive someone, I would tell them, even though you were the same person you were when you shot me in the leg, I still hope you change in the future. And I hope me being the one person who forgives you out of thousands of others you shot in the leg hopefully changes who you are. And if they reciprocated with, or not reciprocated, if they responded with, oh, I don't care, I'd be like, okay, well, I still forgive you. And then they walk away, never in my life again. I'd still forgive them. But in that moment, yes, I'm doing it for myself, so I don't think about it. But moreover, I'm hoping that they realize the damage they've done, and there are good people on this planet who, don't deserve, I'm not saying I'm like the best person on the planet, but there's good people on this planet that don't deserve stuff like that. I've seen a video, it was a very long time ago. I don't know if either of you saw the video, but it was a mother who, her son was killed, and they were in court, and the guy was standing there. He was really distraught, crying, and instead of the mother getting up, screaming, saying, F you, you did this, you're gonna rot in hell, she walks up to him, gives him a hug, says, I forgive you. He starts breaking down crying, but she says, I forgive you, but you are a part of this family now. You will never ever forget me. This will be on your mind every single day for the rest of your life because of what you did. In that moment, that really, I'm sure in his mind, he said, I really, really did a bad thing. And that kind of gets into your head that you did something very bad. And like I said, when I was very manipulative, I hurt this girl a lot. And she still has not forgiven me. It has been 6-7 years, and she still doesn't forgive me for what I've done. And I've stopped trying to reach out for her for that comfort, because I really don't mind if people forgive me for things that I've done, because it is not important to me as other people. but I look for forgiving other people because I know that it puts you in a better place, and it really makes you realize that, yes, this is going to be on my consciousness for, probably the rest of my life. I shot this guy in the leg. I'm going to think about it. There's no way you can't think about it. Well, obviously there's ways you can't think about it, but it's really hard not to think about it when you shot somebody in the leg, they're bleeding, they look you directly in the eyes and say, I forgive you. That is really hard to forget. And that's kind of what my mindset is about forgiveness.
Very, very powerful stuff there, man. I mean, maybe I'm just not on the same mental playing field as you, but
I'm not trying to change your opinion, just talking.
Right, yeah, and I would find it hard for me to get myself to a point where I could do that, where I could forgive somebody that easily. I could probably say the words, but in my mind, I don't think so. But then again,
You shot me in the leg. No.
You shot me in the leg, bro. I forgive you, though.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's we have very different mindsets, but that's fine. Everybody is entitled to their own opinion.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's the wonderfulness of life and America as well. I mean, just the simple fact that I served in the military, that would make people have a bad opinion on me. Are they entitled of it? Sure. Yeah, I mean, it's their right. But it's just interesting how people can have different opinions over those kind of things. But it's the world we live in, the country we live in. Everyone has the right to their own beliefs. Okay. This is actually the longest podcast we've had so far. So that's cool. Jake, I still got ringing in my ear. Yep. Aiden and I went shooting the other day.
Really?
Yesterday. I got my truck stuck in the snow. That was fun.
Oh, when that axe throwing place opens up, I want to go there.
Yeah. All right. Well, do either of you have questions for me? Any questions at all? I feel like
I'm done asking questions because I'm going to make it another hour longer.
To be honest, I don't even really
Maybe
care.
on another episode.
Stop with the weather services, Alexa.
Actually, yeah, this is like just a casually. This is just for a casual conversation. Have any of you thought about, like doing a D&D campaign? Like I know Zeb, you said that you have not played D&D before.
I don't know anything about it. What does D&D even stand for?
Dungeons and Dragons.
I'm just kidding.
Bait!
Ducks and ducks.
Ducks and Ducks.
Did you hear that echo when I yelled that? Bait!
No. Oh, now.
Bait!
Maybe Matt Murdock can use echolocation.
He's just standing in a room with his villains. Ah! Just like
Is that you, Green Goblin?
Kingpin! Oh, that's just a pillar. My bad.
But like I said, have any of
Kingpin, I want
you
him back.
thought about doing a D&D campaign?
Yeah, no, I'm down. It's finding people to do it. I actually have a group. I'll talk to you later.
Time.
Yeah, Brianna, I'll talk to you later about that
Okay.
because I actually have a group that wants to start a campaign, and I think
Yay.
they told me to invite people. So, all right.
That got me excited because I've been itching to do a campaign for a while because we had to the previous group that I was in, we had to end because of personal conflicts. Which I'm not going to disclose to what it is.
Personal conflict.
Yeah.
It's time to chew ass and kick gum, and I'm all out of ass.
That's good. That's really good.
It's time to chew ass and kick gum. And I'm out of gum. All right. Well, if there's nothing else that we have, that's all I pretty much have. I think that's a good stopping point. I don't mind going on longer. I don't really think there needs to be limits to these podcasts, but I mean, or we could even end the podcast and just keep talking on our own if we want to. But
yeah, we can do that.
I think that's a good ending point if you all agree.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Well, time to do my outro. Again, this was Tune In Tuesdays for those of you who made it this long. Every Tuesday, come and join that sort of nifty jazz. We're going to have different guests on each week, and we're going to have different talks such as these talks and things like that. I'm very awkward when I'm doing intros and outros. I hate that.
I don't even do intros and outros. You know what I do? I go peace and end my stream.
Peace! No. If anybody out there wants to check out these lovely individuals, their social medias will be in the description of this video, and make sure that you tune in next Tuesday to check out this podcast. Or if you're a watcher after the fact, or a listener, because that's what a podcast is supposed to be, then we'll see you next time, whenever that may be. Make sure you go to SpiderKingStudios.com. We have a new website up and going, so go and check that out. We have the ambition to have another showing of Death with Dignity, so if you are a local person, go and check that out. Subscribe to the email list, and we'll send you some notices on when new tickets are going to be available, and you'll get to know sooner than anybody else does, so that you can get a jump on that. If you are not a local person, then make sure that you, again, subscribe to our email list, or subscribe to our YouTube channel, or subscribe to everything. We're going to have digital copies and eventually DVD releases for Death with Dignity. So
I gotta get a copy.
Oh yeah, now everybody in the cast will get one.
I mean, I don't really have a DVD player, so
That's fine.
If you have a console, you can play on that probably.
I have the PS5, but I got the digital version.
Gotcha.
All right, well, we're going to end it there. Thank you all for watching, and see y'all later. Goodbye. Tschüss. Ciao.